Hey guys, AJ here, back with another one. So this is going to be the end of a family court week, and there's a video that we're going to react to, and we're going to listen to the audio. And this is a lead attorney on the Lapeef Network. Now, I personally can't stand the Lapeef Network. I used to listen to them, but you had people like Kay and that Kayla girl, and they were just toxic and just messing up the whole panel. So you would have people that the whole point of the panel is to talk about solutions that were going to help the black community. And you had Kay and Kayla that would just ruin the whole thing. There's a bunch of passive aggressive bullshit that would ruin the whole show, and everyone would just get in their feelings, and nothing positive would come from the whole show. So there were some golden moments, like when Kevin Samuels was on there, R.I.P., or when the lead attorney was on there, because these were issues where they would talk about, like the lead attorney had such expertise in his field that they couldn't really refute any of his points. And then Kevin Samuels too, he was such an expert on the topics that he was talking about. You know, the passive aggressive BS wouldn't work. And even when Mr. Palmer was on there, he was such an expert in what he would present on in family law that they couldn't really shame him or do any of their regular tactics. And by them, I mean Kay and Kayla and the toxic people on the panel. So we're going to start, we're going to react to this video real quick and get into, this is the lead attorney talking about why men don't really fight for their kids. And just to preface this, they were having a conversation about family court, and Kay, of course, was in her feelings and was like, well, men just need to fight harder for their kids, not knowing that the system is set up to screw men over. So let's get into this real fast.
It's terrible. I think Chicago really got a question.
Lee, I got a question for you. So, and I've heard you talk about this on your channel, and this came up earlier. What percentage of men actually fight for custody of their children? And how much do they typically spend with you when they fight in those cases? I heard you talk about that before too.
Man, you're asking a real question. And this question is multi-layered. And let me just give you the answer. Not a lot of men fight for custody of their children.
And I'm not showing the video because I don't want to copyright strike, but if you can see Kay's face, she gives this like, see, I told you so look on her face. And she always does this passive aggressive smirks, and then she could dish it, but she can't take it. So it just drives me crazy when I watch any of this Lapeef stuff from back in the day, because she was one of the worst parts of the show. But when the lead attorney said most men don't fight for their kids, she was acting like, ha ha, I told you, blah, blah, blah. But let's watch the lead attorney bring it around and then gut check her. Let's go.
So maybe, I don't know if you saw Kay's face, right?
Hey, yeah, that's what she was saying they didn't.
Now, the reason Kay's face is funny to me is because it's clear she doesn't understand why. Right? She doesn't understand why.
Help me understand, Mr. Lead Attorney.
And there we go with the attitude. They brought the lead attorney on because he's an expert. He's over 2 decades in family court, and she's gonna mouth off to him. And she also mouthed off to Kevin Samuels when he was on the show too. But let's get into it. You'll see. Let's go.
That's why I'm here, Kay. That's why I'm here. Let's say you live in a place like Atlanta, right? If you live in a place like Atlanta and you come in and you say, okay, Chicago Rilla comes in and he says he wants to fight for his kids. And I look back at how all these judges are and how they've always been for the last 20 years. I mean, his wife needs to be, on meth. She needs to be in prison. She needs to have touched those kids in a sexual nature. I mean, she needs to be such a terrible mom. It's not even enough that she was a terrible wife. She could have been cheating on Chicago with 5 other dudes. A judge is going to say, listen, her being a wife and her being a mother are 2 different things. And even though she's in these streets, even though she's doing all this stuff with all these other men, doesn't mean that she's not a good mom. The judge is going to try to save her and is going to want to put those kids with her.
Absolute facts. And it's funny that they can say that a man can cheat and be a piece of shit, but they don't ever say that a man being a husband and a man being a father are two different things. So it's just not equal. Let's get back into it.
So I have to tell him this. And divorce attorneys really have to give this speech probably at least once a day to somebody to say, listen, if you want to fight for your kid, it's going to be an uphill battle and you're probably going to lose. Now, a lot of men will get the hint and they'll say, okay, fine, just give me as much visitation as I can. And then the wife will realize that we're not fighting for visitation anymore. And the wife will make the face that Kay made, like, oh, see, you don't even really care about your kid anyway. When really it was your attorney. Really, it was your attorney who told you not to. Now, unlike Chicago Rilla, there are some men who are hard-headed. And they will say, well, listen, I want to fight for my kid anyway. And I say, okay, give me $7,500 to start. And I'll bill you out at $400, $450 an hour. And
$450 an hour. And he is right. I know two guys that are hard-headed and try to fight for their kids. Hell, I even know a guy who found out he had a kid and the mom was going to adopt the kid to a couple out from underneath him that he didn't know about. He emptied out his retirement and the kid still got adopted out from under him. So the lead attorney is correct. You're going to get screwed over. You know what I mean? And he's just telling you straight facts about how things go. And he's an ethical attorney, so that's why he's saying that, what the situation's like. Now, you guys know me. I gave a video earlier that said, look, you can't force me to be a parent. If a woman all you get from me is direct deposit. I'm not gonna try and kick and scratch and go to court to see a kid that I didn't want. If you're married and your wife leaves you, that's different. But if you just knock some chick up, you are not obligated to have to go there and play catch with a little motherfucker. Shit, fuck it. Just write the direct deposit, do what the court tells you to do, throw the smoke bomb and disappear into the mist. Let's get back into it.
And we'll go from there. What they're going to find is once they get up to 15,000, 30,000, they're going to come to me and they're like, lead attorney, I don't have any more money. Right? And I was like, well, I told you this was going to be extremely expensive. And they're going to say, yeah, well, listen, I can't pay you anymore. Can you keep working for free? I cannot work for free. Well, then I guess we're going to need to settle on, I'm just try to get me as much visitation as you can get. Well, fair enough, but I feel bad because Chicago, this is what I told you 6 months ago. Right? Some guys get the hint early. Some guys get it late. Some guys will raid their 401k and put my fees on their credit card, and now they're looking at 50.
Just like I was telling you guys, my friend did. My friend, I don't mean to get into the story again, but he found out he was moving for a job, and his last night that he was in a particular part of the country, he had sex with this chick, got her pregnant on accident, and then a year and a half later, no, it was like a year and 2 months, she called him on Facebook, on the messenger, called him and said, hey, you have a baby. I need you to sign this paperwork so I can adopt this kid out to this rich couple that's going to pay me however much money. He said, no, I want to see my kid. So he fought this woman for like a year and a half, and he emptied out his retirement, and he lost. So now there's a kid out there that's his that he doesn't get to see. And he's broke. So the lead attorney is absolutely correct here.
50 grand, 75 grand. We'll fight for 2 years. You'll pay me 75 grand. You'll pay a guardian ad litem 30 grand. You'll pay a psychiatrist 20 grand. And guess what? You lose. When you lose, and now you're 150,000 in the hole, and then on top of that, you have to pay child support every month. Oh, no. Yes, the rage.
And you got to pay for your, if you're married or whatever, you got to pay for her lawyer fees too. That's something I don't think he talks about. So the court gives the woman a lawyer that you got to pay for if you lose. It's crazy.
You feel as a man. And why did you lose? Because you're a man. Right? But when you say Chicago Rilla, or Kay, whichever one, I think it was Chicago Rilla, when you ask me, do men fight for custody, and then you see the face that Kay makes, you're asking a really sophisticated question that not a lot of people understand the answer to.
Yeah, and I don't see Kay smirking now.
I mean, it's a very deep answer. You have attorneys in this state. It's all, in fact, attorneys that'll say, yeah, let's fight for custody. Those are really the bad ones because they know what's going to happen in the end. Now, are there cases where men can fight for custody and win? Yes, probably about 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. And I will tell you that some men come into the office already up on game. They don't even ask me for custody. They already know it might be their second divorce, or they might have went through some type of custody issue with the baby mama. So they say, lead attorney, just give me as much visitation as you can give me. Now, to Kay, that might look like a man that's not fighting for his kid, but to me, it can absolutely be it's a man that's already up on game,
a man that's smart, and a man who wants to keep his money. Yep, and people who are ignorant tend to want to make a simple assessment of a complex problem, and that's what Kay did here, and that's why she's looking like a moron in this case. Let's get back into it, and we're almost done.
Already knows that he doesn't want to spend $15,000 and then come into his attorney's office and say, I'm out of money, how much can you get me? Or how much visitation? Or a man who doesn't want to raid his 401k and spend $75,000 and lose, and then have to turn around and pay child support beginning that next month. Right? Yeah. So there are all these injustices against men that the regular people don't see. You know, when Kay made that face, it was almost insulting. But it's not her fault. She just doesn't know.
And see, the lead attorney, he's a good guy. You know, he tries to be political, but I'm not. Fuck that, dude. That face that she made, it's insulting, and she is the number one reason why I don't watch this fucking channel anymore. And I actually think she's gone, so I might actually try and tune in a little bit again. But that smug, arrogant, ridiculous, smart mouth attitude that she has is what I really think hurt the Lapeef Network a lot. And the fact that she would do that to people like Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, the lead attorney, Mr. Palmer, any of these other black people that are trying to make a positive impact in the black community, just drives me absolutely crazy. I think we're almost done.
The landscape.
I don't.
Right, and so that's why I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you at all. You know,
I do. I blame her.
If someone's a mechanic and they're like, oh, well, what's the carburetor do? It's not my fault. I'm ignorant, right?
I'm so glad
I'm
you're here.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm
because
here.
You know you're an expert in the field.
And now she's gonna backtrack and say, well, I didn't really mean anything by it. I was just trying to add to the conversation by adding to the expertise. Man, fuck that.
Field, which is very important.
Yeah, I only know one thing, guys. I've been doing this for years.
She's throwing shots.
No, I'm not.
Courtney, is this your homie? Is this your homie, Courtney?
We're gonna end it here because I think the last part of the video is just them talking shit. But either way, the lead attorney just spelled it out just fine. Men get fucked in maternity court. Period. So if you're gonna be with a woman, married, hook up, anything, be careful. Just know what you're getting into. Do the research. If you get a girl pregnant, go to a lawyer immediately and see what your options are. See what the laws are in your state. Do something. Be proactive, because this court system, and here's an analogy for you. And I was thinking about this earlier today, and we'll close here in just a minute. Imagine that you're a boxer, right? And you're like a middleweight or a welterweight. And they close down all the divisions except for heavyweight, right? And they say you can only box heavyweight. It doesn't matter what weight you are. Now, anyone who knows boxing knows that weight classes matter. And if a welterweight goes into heavyweight, he's screwed because it's biased against him based on weight, etc. And imagine if all the heavyweights are saying, oh, well, if you don't box as a heavyweight, even though you're a welterweight, you're a pussy and you just don't fight hard enough. That's what the family court system is. It's rigged in the favor of those of women. Imagine that the women are the heavyweights. They're the ones that are in a system that's biased towards them, that benefits them, saying that men who don't fight in that class or who don't do the fight are somehow not men or somehow not doing what they're supposed to do. And why would anyone want to go into a fight knowing that they're going to get their ass kicked? So props to the lead attorney. You know, anyone who's listening to this, go to his channel. And if this video has helped anyone who's in a bad situation to understand what's going on, then truly, I feel glad that, I might have done some good in the world. So thanks everyone for all the new subscribers and listeners. Please like, subscribe. You guys are the absolute best. Please stay safe. And this is AJ. I am out of here.